I just heard her.
All right, we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where we introduce you to your future favorite artists today. And today we're taking a blast from the past to show you what real marksmanship is. Because a lot of people rhyme, but they don't rap. And a lot of people were rappers and they're not MCs. So check this out. Today, Heritage Hip Hop has been dubbed the 30 for 30 of independent music and independent artists. And today we're going to give you the backstory of a prolific spitter from a land you are afraid to go to. You're not? Let's go there now. Introduce yourself to the people, sir.
What's up, everybody? My name is D.Brock Dalyrical from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Now, Pittsburgh is one of them places that is known for football. I mean, people like Wiz Khalifa. But if you really know about Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh was the far out land that was a land within itself. Tell me about Pittsburgh and what makes Pittsburgh the land of the lost or the unknown land of glory.
All right. It's because Pittsburgh is actually considered a smaller city, but we just got so much here, right? You know, Pittsburgh is a city with a lot of old money. Goes back to the Mellons and Carnegies and, Rockefellers and Charles Schwab. They all been through Pittsburgh. So what that did was created, Pittsburgh was known as the first modern metropolis in America for shipping and all that because of the three rivers. So out of that, man, it's just been a hardcore city over the years, and it just developed into something that, the people of Pittsburgh are just hardcore. They just cut from a different cloth. And just like New York City, man, they say if you can make it in New York City, you can make it anywhere. But if you can make it in Pittsburgh, brother, you can make it anywhere as well. So, that's where we come from. Hardcore, blue collar, and the underground scene has always been. And we was like a baby New York City back in the late 80s and early 90s. And that's where I really honed my skills at, man, because from 93 to 96, I recorded in Manhattan at INS Studios with my man Paradise Gray from X-Clan, and shout out to Dice, that's where it comes from, man. So if you can make in Pittsburgh, you can make anywhere.
Let's not go back. No, let's not go too fast because I want people to really understand the dynamic. Because in the 80s, Pittsburgh was like bust you in your mouth era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. Let's be clear.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody wants to talk about their area, and I want to really put it on the map that we have a knowledge of Pittsburgh over here. And Pittsburgh really was not let me just go there and I'm going to just sightsee and I'm going to just take in the sights. Pittsburgh really was if you're not from here, you really got to know who you're talking to at one time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Because, it was so bad here, man. I remember back in the late 80s that they stopped all the concerts from coming here because, people was always fighting and shooting. And I remember one time, I think it was Bobby Brown and I don't know, somebody's road managers was fighting at the concert, and one of them ran across the street to the hotel, and a couple of dudes chased him and beat him to death in the lobby of the hotel with mic stands. And that's when they stopped the concerts from coming to Pittsburgh for years.
Wow.
And in a couple of years after that, the gang started.
The thing is, when you talk about Philadelphia has its many pockets, but Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, especially, is where everybody focuses on. And it seems like Pittsburgh got lost until Wiz Khalifa came out with Black and Yellow. You see what I'm saying?
True.
What would be your definition of Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia?
Okay. Philly is considered a major city because of where it's at and its proximity to New York City and DC and everything that's, close to it. So, Philly and they, for lack of a better expression, man, a lot of times Philly cats would look down on us, right? Like, Pittsburgh was like the stepchild or foster child, at Pennsylvania. And we always took offense to that. So we always stood up to them, and we stand up to them to this day. But, once you get to know Philly cats, they cool, but you got to get to know them first. It's like you were saying, you got to get to know people here in Pittsburgh first before they cool with you. That's just how it is.
The reason why Pittsburgh was always dubbed the land of the lost over on my side is because I'm from Jersey, by the way, Jersey hip hop
Okay.
stand up.
Shout
Because
out to Jersey.
when you go to certain places in Jersey, it's either New York influence or Philadelphia influence.
Mm-hmm.
And Pittsburgh is a 3-hour ride for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you went to Pittsburgh, it was like, yo, what is this?
Yeah, and I
then,
fought that.
I'm sorry, what you say?
I'm sorry. And not to cut you off, bro, but like I said, I had to fight that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Pittsburgh is truly an East Coast city.
Yes.
Right? It's truly East Coast. But in the beginning in the mid 90s, early mid 90s, you know, people started talking about Pittsburgh was West Coast. And then we had a lot of rappers, or Midwest. I'm sorry, Midwest.
Oh, okay.
And then a lot of rappers from here started to turn and move toward that Midwest Southern sound. And, you know, just like the real skill and the art of hip hop started to dissipate some because, you know, they started doing that. But I always fought that, man. And I stayed true to East Coast, true to hip hop. And I still consider Pittsburgh East Coast and a hip hop city.
So let's talk about that, because my understanding of Pittsburgh, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mind being wrong, okay? My understanding of Pittsburgh from 86 to 89 was bass, hard, boom bap music. Am I correct?
That's all it was. That's how I got my start. You know, like back then, that was all we listened to. That was it. Everywhere you went, it was Cool J. It was, I mean, we can go back to Just Ice and you know what I mean? Like just everything, it was all East Coast, Dana Dane, you know, Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh, you know, the Get Fresh crew, all of that, man. That's all you heard out the house parties. That's all we was playing. That's all you heard in school. That's all the songs that people were singing in school. Everybody knew the words to them. Like KRS One, like, you know, man, Chris is still a god, and he was bigger than life back then. Him, Rakim, the R, like all of them, man. And everybody knew everybody's songs. And it was all about East Coast. And it started to change. It didn't start to change until after NWA came out. That was the beginning of it.
That's 89. Yeah.
Right. And that was the beginning of it. And then by the time Master P hit, man, it was just, it had taken a real turn.
Let's come back a little bit. We're going too far ahead, because I was told, and like I said, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, because everybody, this is heritage hip hop. We listen to music and we study the culture. So I want to ask some questions, because you're teaching me about Pittsburgh right now. But I heard Schoolie D was the shit in Pittsburgh.
He was. Looking at my Gucci, it's about that time, homie.
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah. Come on, man. We knew it. All of them. And Schoolie D was huge, right? And everybody that I went to school with, everybody else, man, and my whole age, the whole generation next, right? Like, we knew every word to every song. I'm talking about Schoolie D, King's Son. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm throwing out MCs from back then, man. Shan, Juice Crew. Like, it was just Finesse and Quist. You know what I mean?
Soul Sisters, let's go.
Right. So we knew it all of it, man. And that's what Pittsburgh truly was. So, you know, it really upset me, man, when what you're talking about, when we started to make that turn, man. And I never understood it, and I still don't understand it, and I never fed into it. But keep coming, brother.
So, peeling that onion back, it was PSK, and then the next biggest turn for Pittsburgh, I heard, because I did some research before we did this. The next big thing I heard was, I Can't Live Without My Radio. And then I Need Love came out. And then LL Cool J was like the prince of the city at one time, because he came there and Pittsburgh embraced him like he was like,
listen,
you know what I mean?
I was at the show, 1985, Fresh Festival. I'll never forget it. Cool J came out on stage and he had this big ass curtain up behind him, right? And he had this, you know, a little boom box. and he was holding it, and he had to set it down on stage. And I'll never forget, he said, "Y'all like my radio?" And the whole crowd went crazy. And he said it again, "Y'all like my radio?" We was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, y'all gonna love this one." And he walked back and he pulled the curtain down, and they had a boom box damn near the size of the stage, bro. It was, I will never forget. But speaking of Cool J, that's my main influence. He's the reason I started rapping. He's the reason. I used to get on stage and I used to lip sync, man. I'm Bad out at this place. We used to have an old nightclub back in the day. It was called Top Charlie's. And on Sundays it was 18 and under. And like I said, I was still in high school, man. I used to go out there and I used to lip sync I'm Bad, and I used to win the contest, man. And that's what started me to rhyming. Because I figured if I could do his stuff and get the crowd hype, I should be able to do my own. Man, he was the baddest thing on the planet to me at the time. So that's where it came from. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
All hip hop is seeing somebody who looks like you and showing you, proving to you that you could be a superhero just like them.
True.
Because MCs are larger than life, and then when you see them, they're your size. So it's like, yo, I can do this too. And when you first pick up your pen, you emulate. Tell me about the first time you picked up your pen and you were you. How did that feel?
Well, I had to get away from the Cool J thing because my first song that I ever wrote was called "I'm Hard," right? Because he had them bad, so I wrote "I'm Hard," and it just sounded just like his song, not the word, not the same, whatever, but it just. And after writing a few songs of my own, I said, you know what, I can't sound like him. I gotta develop my own style. Right. So then I started taking because I started out freestyling before I even started writing. I freestyle, and I was good at it. So then I started turning my freestyles into my songs because when I was freestyling, it was always me. And then that helped me develop my own voice and the way I write and my style.
Style is predicated on experience. You cannot be stylish unless you have something to put on.
True.
Tell me about what did you put on that made the world understand that you were lyrical, not just rhyming? Well,
my very first single was dropped in 1989. It was a song titled "If You a Brother, Be a Brother." And it was about the struggles of Black men. And that was born out of the culture at that time, because that at the time everybody was wearing the peace signs, it was all about red, black, and green. And everybody was wearing red, black, and green outfits and all that. Africa was real heavy. And PE and KRS talking about by any means necessary and all that, man. So, that's where that was born from.
I tried to look for that record and I couldn't find it.
No, you won't find it, man. It was only on the cassette.
You don't have it?
I don't even have a copy, bro. I do not even have a copy. And I know, but I know people who have it, so I'm going to get one. Also, I had 12 inches of my next couple songs. And I know a couple DJs that still have those. So some of it's out there. Now that I put this song out, man, a lot of people reached out to me, told me, I still got this and I still got that. So, I got to get with them, man, because it was so long ago, man.
But see, those are the stories that makes hip hop candid, because one thing this generation takes for granted is that hip hop is at your fingertips. When we were in the game trying to learn it, be it, emulate it, and do it, you had to go somewhere to get hip hop. You had to find hip hop. Nobody understand. Look, check it out. Ask a new age person what's a bootleg. You know what I'm saying? Like Like they don't know the time when people would have bootleg our album and people would flip the tables and beat people up. Like those were the days where you really had pride and you really fought to have your sound protected and heard. When nowadays you could bootleg or put songs anywhere and nobody cares as long as they're getting heard.
Right.
So exposure, style, and charisma was something that came from exclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
Being that Pittsburgh was exclusive, when you first did your first song, If Your Brother Be Your Brother, Hype Jam Records, stand up. If you remember, what was it like touring and showing people around the city and then the state you could do what you set out to do?
Whew, best feeling ever.
Okay.
There's nothing like being on the stage and performing and people know the words to your song. Right? That's the best feeling ever because that means that they really felt you. And they really feel you and they like what you're doing and they like your music and they feel it. So, you know, it was huge, man, for me. When I first started performing, doing shows, I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew I didn't want to get on the stage and, you know, do what I could do. But man, the first time I seen people, you know, first time I really rocked the crowd and I said, say ho, and the whole crowd said, oh, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right. You know, so it's a hell of a feeling, man. It's nothing like it. And to be taken seriously as an MC, to be taken seriously as an artist, that's the best, you know, best feeling ever, man. Best feeling ever.
Everybody watching, this is Heritage Hip Hop. This is Karev, and I'm interviewing D.Brock Dalyrical. And if you listen to Heritage Hip Hop, you know we really take this interview game serious. So if you like this interview, make sure you like, subscribe, share this interview, and make sure you follow this gentleman on social media because now we're going to get into the journey since now we gave you the intro to the story. Check this out. Your stage presence, as you know, as an artist is very big, right?
Right.
Tell me about how you went from ho, ho to making what's considered one of the best rap songs that ever had came out of your territory or city or state, period. Talk about that.
Well, I never set out to do that, right? I'm just writing from the heart and what I'm thinking that people want to hear and what people will relate to. So, you know, when you put a song out, and it's received very well. And then you have the Post Gazette, you know, come out and say that it's one of the best songs that ever came out of the region, one of the best songs that ever come out. You know, it's mind blowing and it's a little overwhelming, you know. But it also what it does is create the expectation, right? And then when you don't meet those expectations, you know, it's almost like a blessing and a curse. It's a double-edged sword.
But what the hell is an expectation? Because the expectation is nothing but a overhyped opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep it real. I expect you to be better. But what is the better and how are you judging that bar? And what is the bar that you're judging me on? You see what I'm saying? And one thing about hip hop, everybody's opinion matters before the work actually is done, it seems. And that's garbage. You know what I'm saying? How did, since you brought up expectations, how did the expectations become given to you? And then what did you do with those expectations when they were given to you?
Well, I let it bother me. I let it pressure me for years, right? And that was the wrong thing to do because I put, you know, all those expectations. It made me feel like I had to make it back then, so I wouldn't let those people down. So I just turned my life upside down, bro, and everything was about the music. And I suffered in a lot of ways because of it, right? But I was so determined, and you know, I also had convinced myself that since God had blessed me with so much talent, He expected me to make it as well. So I was even more driven, right? And, that wasn't a good thing to do, because it set me back for years. That's what it did. At the end of the day, it really set me back for years. And I had to fight my way out of it.
Can you explain that setback? Because that's a very interesting topic.
Okay, so the setback, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, bro. The setback was I didn't want to work a regular job, so I was hustling, right? Like every other rapper was doing, but so I was hustling, and because I didn't want to work a regular job. And when you hustling and you making music, you have no respect for money, none, and you don't do the right things with it. And so all I was doing, I just thought the right things was pay for studio time and record and put the music out, right? I didn't give a shit about nothing else, including paying rent, car notes, car insurance. So you end up fighting the courts and always going to court and always got warrants and shit out for your arrest and all kind of crazy shit because you didn't handle your business. Because you keep thinking that this next song is going to be the one and that's all going to be over. But don't go that way. Don't happen that way. So, I had to learn that. And it took me a long time to learn that, to quit being stubborn and to realize I had to do something else.
It's funny, excuse me, because people say, back in the day, this, go to school if hip hop doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Now people say, go to hip hop if school doesn't work. It's amazing how that dynamic changed, isn't it?
Right, because at the end of the day, man, and it's messed up because this is, telling kids to go to hip hop, especially with the state that hip hop is in now, what they consider hip hop is in nowadays, it's like telling them, go ruin your motherfucking life. That's what they're doing. That's what they're telling them, right? Because how many of those kids gonna make it? And even the ones that do make it, how long do they last? How long are you gonna hear about them, right? Think about it. In the last 10 years, how many rappers came and gone?
Millions.
Millions that had a hit record at one time, But they didn't own that record. They didn't own the jewelry they was wearing. They didn't own the cars they was driving in the videos. They didn't own the house they was partying in. They didn't own none of that. And a lot of them dudes right now got real life problems. Real problems.
Yeah, I mean, if we knew now if we knew then what we know now, you could have probably made it in another way using hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And those were the jewels that was left out of the conversation, because just like today, we go to people for hip hop when we are the hip hop, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I learned in your journey that you took a break to go to school, then you left school to get hip hop
to go back to hip hop.
And if that happened today, not only would you be praised for it, but you would bring something more to the game that people don't actually knows exists. Like, for instance, most MCs are very intelligent, but they act stupid to sell records. That's crazy to me.
Right.
And if individualism is what hip hop was built on, to copycat and be manufactured edible, you know what I'm saying? You're getting chewed up and then thrown away. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, because this borders on your new single, Call Me Old, and we skipped a lot of stuff, but we're going to go back to it.
I got you.
I want to give you an analogy, and I want you to make it your story and tell us what you think about it, okay?
Okay.
Anything manufactured comes free or cheap, and you get it very easily. You don't take care of it, and it's very disposable. But things that are organic are not manufactured. They're grown, cultivated, nurtured with experience. So when you get it, not only do you enjoy it, but you cherish it as a one of a kind. How does that reflect your story and hip hop itself?
Because once I figured out that I had a gift, right? once I figured out that I had a true gift, that I was blessed with a gift, I knew that I would never, as long as I was in my right mind, I would never lose it. I would never lose it, and I cherished it, and I worked on it, and I wouldn't let it go. So, I guess we're going into where 2009, okay, when I had the stroke. I completely lost my ability to speak. I couldn't say a word, right? But I always believed, truly believed that I would be able to speak again, even though the doctors couldn't tell me that, if I would ever be able to speak again or not. So it was my gift. It was hip hop that really saved me, right? Because that's what I used to teach myself to speak again. I refused to take the medication. I refused to go to speech therapy. I didn't do none of that. I used hip hop, right? And what I knew that I could do at one time. And I knew that I had to do it again, and I was going to do it again, and I was just determined. So once I taught myself to speak again, and once I could do it again, and that's when I'm like, all right, I still have this gift, and I need to do something with it. But I knew I was going to record again. I just didn't know it was going to take me 11 years. You know what I mean? But I always knew that I wasn't done because I knew that I still had this gift, and I believed in myself.
And that's where we pick up the interview, because I don't believe hip hop is music. I believe hip hop is the expression that we get from God himself, because it encompasses so many things that it can't be one thing. Like in R&B, either you can sing or you can't. You know what I'm saying? In jazz music, jazz was hated because jazz meant moving your hips sexually. That's why everybody liked Elvis Presley, remember? Because he could move his hips like a Negro. That's what they said. And rock and roll was this. It was the movement music, not the Gregorian chant stuff that they were doing with no rhythm.
Right.
So even if you look biblically, hip hop is always grounded on being individualistic. Israel was taught not to be like any other nation, just be one nation under God. So individualism was a form of hip hop. Everybody's individual story is in context their journey with God and their expression into the world. How does your expression into the world not only solidify your story, how does it show the world that you are an enduring story that only the lucky or the few get to experience themselves?
It's perseverance, right? You have to endure, and most of all, you have to believe in yourself. You have to. And that was the main thing, right? Because my story could have ended. My rap career could have been over right in 2009, done. But I just believed, and I fought for what I knew that I was capable of. So, that's my story, man. I just fought, man. And I've just refused to give in. And because that would have meant never picking up a mic again. And there was no way that I could live with myself if I would have done that.
Glue is some of the strongest stuff that man has ever created himself. That man had came out of nowhere. But let me show you what I mean. Do you know what the glue of life is?
Nah, man, put me down, bro.
Sound.
Okay.
You said you use hip hop to heal yourself.
Yes, sir.
When you play certain sounds or vibrations, the synapses of the brain merge like this. And then the gray matter gets bigger, and then they blend like this. Yes, y'all, biology on Heritage Hip Hop.
Right.
People with Alzheimer's, people who suffer strokes, people who are autistic. Those are things that go with the brains, ladies and gentlemen. And when they go through therapy, they use a music or art therapy to play music to make the brain merge. When you say hip hop helped you, Was it the beats first that made you start remembering and talking, or was it the rhythm that got you moving? Like, can you explain that to me?
It was strictly the words, right? I never lost any physical skills, right? I didn't use, so all my extremities, everything, I was fine physically. I didn't lose any strength. I did lose 30 pounds that week in the hospital because I couldn't eat. They wouldn't let me shower. They had monitors hooked up to me for 7 days straight. So I lost 30 pounds that week. But it was the words, man. I just started trying to recite every song that I ever knew, right? I went way back to the 80s. I mean, even before I went to Sugar Hill, The Message, I, I was just going through everything, and because I could say it in my head clear as day. I can hear it. I was on beat, but I couldn't get it out. I couldn't say it. I couldn't get my mouth to, and for lack of, some better expressions, man, I went through all these different stages. Like I had, Down syndrome. Like I spoke with a lisp. Like I had, like I was mentally challenged. Like I had a speech impediment. And like I went through all those stages before I could just maybe like order a pizza. And then it just, but every day, man, I would just put my headphones on and sit at my studio and just play everybody from Biggie to Nas to DMC to my own stuff to Cool J to every song I ever knew. And I would just keep trying to spit them and spit them and spit them and spit them and spit them until I could. And that's what did it, because that started to trigger the mouth, my speech to catch up with my brain. And it came back on stage. It was very slow, man. It was like a turtle, like a turtle running 100 yards, you know what I mean? Like, or a mile, I mean, it was just slow progression. And then, finally I was able to do it. So, man, that's what it was, bro.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is speech therapy given to you by the hip hop culture. Salute. Hey, man. Hey, look, I love this interview, man, because you're teaching me something real deep. You know what I'm saying? And it's the power of linguistics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about this. I don't co-sign this man, but he gave speeches that rocked the world, and that's Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler used to stare into the crowd to make them quiet. So when he spoke, his words meant that much more. Think about that.
Okay. Wow.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man I do co-sign, spoke with rhythm. Think about this. I have a dream, I say.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Biggie rhymed.
True.
Because he used articulation and drawn out notes in his words to bring you into his pattern of speech.
It was all a dream.
Exactly.
I get it.
So even through poetry, when you think about Nas or Rakim or even KRS-One, delivery, wordplay, hesitation to build up effect through words and pattern of speech is how hip hop healed the world, just like it healed you. What do you think is the most important message you received that was spoken to you through hip hop?
The most important message that I received spoken to me through hip hop. Honestly, man, I at some point in time, I just became, and it was after KRS said it. And he said, once he said hip hop is a culture, right? And then he used to say, I am hip hop. And you remember the I am hip hop t-shirts? That's when I understood it. And that's when I understood, yep, I am hip hop. And this is me and this is who I am. And I need to stay true to that. And that's what I did.
I salute that. I salute that heavily because, ladies and gentlemen, Once again, we're talking to D.Brock Dalyrical, and this man just pulled out of his journey in life a new song. Tell me about the new song, the name of it, and who you were talking to when you made
it. Definitely the younger generation, and also, man, one of my nephews, man. I had, because I used to. He had told me a few years back that we were listening to some new cat a few years back, and I was like, this dude is not even rhyming, man. And he looks at me, he says, "Oh, you don't gotta rhyme no more." And I was like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't gotta rap. It's called rap music, right? So, ever since, I haven't been doing anything, over the last 11 years, man, I just constantly seeing the dumbing down of hip hop, and how the rappers are dressing and what they're considering hip hop, and everybody low this and young this and all of that, man. And there's no content, and it's just all about pill popping and getting high, going to jail was like cool, and just abusing women and all that stuff, man. I just got fed up. So I was actually watching TV, man, in February of 2020, right when the pandemic was getting started, and another one of them little somethings came on TV, man, a video, and it just instantly, it just pissed me off, and I was like, that's it. And I got up and I drove out to Guitar Center, man, and I bought some software and the drum machine, and I came back home and I made a track, and I just started right. And it was Call Me Old that I wrote, but I didn't finish the song until this year. And I got the track, my man, DJ Super C. He's just a beast, man, and he did the track for me, and we're working the album together. So, but yeah, that's where it came from, man. And the reason I titled the song "Call Me Old" is because, like I said, I was 50 when I wrote it, and after I finished the one of the verses, I just started thinking, you know what, I'm 50 years old, and if I put this out, that's everybody. The first thing they're gonna say is, you too old to still be rapping. You too old. You too old. So I said, all right, I'm gonna take it away from them. I'm gonna embrace my age. I'm gonna embrace being 50, right? So that's what I did, and that's where it came from, man. And it's something that's never been done before. Like, I never heard any artist really embrace their age. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna ride with it. And I knew it was taking a risk, but I just believed in it, man. So, that's where it came from, though, bro.
I like that, because no genre of music has an age limit but hip hop.
Right.
And I like the fact that the 90s generation X, like you said in the song.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
90s generation artists are elbowing their way on tours, and that helped bring back the 80s too. Like, look at the verses. The verses is done by two members from the Generation X who is bringing back music.
I love that verses, man, because KRS is one of my heroes, and Kane, both of them. I know all their songs, man. But, and what it's doing is teaching these young cats what hip hop is, because they don't know. They don't know. So I'm so happy that we starting to make that turn and starting to come back to real MCs and real skill.
Well, let's talk about the real, because the video that you have out for Call Me Old is real neighborhood driven. You got people in your age range, you got younger people, and everybody saying the lyrics with you. It starts at a barbershop. Right. First of all, it starts at a barbershop, and the barbershop is the beginning of rap culture, because that's what everybody in the community, the males at least, were getting taught. The barbershop or the beauty shop or hairdresser. And that's when you got the real talk from everybody in the community, you know what I'm saying? So my question to you is this: why did you want the video cut like that for a song like that?
Okay, because as you know, the hip hop has a lot of influence with the barbershop, right? And gets a lot of influence from the barbershop, always has. So I just wanted to create real scenes, like what really what really happened, something that was realistic. And I wanted to take it there because, it's the Black Man's Country Club, right? It's the country club for us. And every rapper Every rapper who ever picked up the microphone been through the barbershop. Every person who ever liked hip hop then talked shit and debated about who was the best at the barbershop. So all of that, bro, all of that. So that was the main reason that I wanted to start it there.
Everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the Heritage Hip Hop, and make sure you go check out "Call Me Old" by D.Brock Dalyrical. I like the title. It's funny. It's funny because everything's called old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you said you're 51 years old, right?
51.
All right, I'm not 51 years old, but I will tell you, when I used to work at a college, I had a student come to me and say, my uncle listened to old school music like Jadakiss and Benny Siegel. I said, what? I said, that's old school to you? I was like, damn, I wonder how you look at me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because even when I go to my brother and I say, yo, that's old school, he might look at me like, yo, you're kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I want to ask you this as we close out this interview. What is old? And how do we fight the stigma of being old?
Okay, I think old is a mindset, bro. If you go back to the 70s, I can go back to the 70s and I can look at, the people that around 30 felt like they was old. They acted like they was old, like the generation before us. They felt old as shit at 30. And I never understood that, So it's a mindset as far as I'm concerned. Now, the way you fight it is just keep doing what you do at any age, right? As long as you can. You feel me? Right? So I know I'm 51. I don't know what 51 is supposed to feel like besides how I feel now. Right? And I still feel like I can do most of the shit that I can do in my 20s. Right? So I don't feel old and I don't know how that's supposed to be. I can't, I just don't subscribe to that, man.
Don't, because old is a state of mind. Experience is wisdom. And with that being said, give everybody your social media so we can celebrate it.
Okay, cool. First of all, please go and check out the video on YouTube. Pull up Real Strong Entertainment or Real Strong or D.Brock Dalyrical, or just search the song Call Me Old. I'm on Instagram at Real Strong ENT. I'm on Facebook at Real Strong Entertainment. And I'm also on TikTok. The song is on TikTok now. I'm not on TikTok yet, but the song is on TikTok now. So we'll create some memes for it, please. But basically, also I have a social media number, man, where people can call me up or text me and leave messages and stuff. So and I'll have that number's on my Facebook. All right, so if they want that.
All right, so everybody out there listening, if you like the song Call Me Old, buy it. Heritage Hip Hop does not believe in streaming. Buy it. Because if you rent your music, you don't own your music. And ownership is for the real. Renting is for people who don't own. And hip hop is something that we have to own. So guess what? If the internet went down and you don't own your music, you don't have your music. So make sure you buy the song. I look forward to the new album coming, correct?
Yes, sir. New album be dropping sometime in 2022, man. It all depends because I'm actually going to record the next single that I'm dropping this weekend. And I'm not sure when we're going to drop it. It all depends on how well Call Me Old keeps going, man. So far, it seems like it's blowing up, man. And that's just a great feeling, bro. So we're going to ride this as long as we can. And then we're going to get to the next single and then drop the album sometime 2022 for sure.
Let's go. So with that being said, everybody, we've come to the end of the first part of the interview. Now we're going to have some fun. You ready to have some fun, bro?
Let's go.
All right. So now you've walked into the rapid fire questions, which are not yes, no questions. These are questions designed to show your intelligence, your depth and knowledge of the hip hop that you do. Are you ready to go?
Let's go.
What's the perfect hip hop beat? Meaning, if this song did not come out with the artist first, it would have been your beat and your first single.
Wait a minute, man. What's the one beat from the Woo?
Protect Your Neck, Triumph. It's yours.
Champion, yeah, what I wear to get your Woo stopped. When they lock shit down. You know what? He's the sound hardcore.
That's Fourth Chamber.
More, like bing, now get you
Fourth
open
Chamber.
like 6-pack. that beat.
That beat is you,
that
huh?
Beat. Yes, sir, all day.
I want to hear you do something to that song then.
Let's go.
Okay, well, my next question is this. What song or album from another artist perfectly describes you?
Whew. Which song or album from another artist perfectly describes me?
Yep.
That's a good one, bro. I would have to say, thinking about that, man, I would have to say, even though our styles are nothing alike, Beans, Feel It in the Air.
That's a real introspective storytelling song. What part of your story or your life would you like to talk about that people may not know?
Ooh. Struggling. All the struggles I went through trying to stay true to hip hop. Times I had to sleep in my car. People don't know about that, right? Times I had to sleep on the floor in the studios. They don't know about that. It was just the struggles, you know, getting evicted, you know, it just sit like that, man. Like the struggles.
Struggle is part of hip hop's DNA. So for somebody to know your struggle, they have to know your story. What story rhyme in hip hop made you want to pick up the pen and write even more because they blew your mind with how they constructed a song?
Ooh, Cool J. It was Cool.
What story?
J,
what story rhyme?
Don't kill me, bro. But it was I Need Love was one of the big ones, right? Because
no, that's a classic.
Right, and because it let me know that's what took me from just writing for dudes, right? Then I was like, wow, I could write for women too. I could write for girls. I could, you know what I mean? And so I Need Love was a big one, man. You know, and that sticks out to me because, like I said, we was talking about what we was talking about before. Like hip hop went from I Need Love to I Beat the Pussy Up.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but it's always had that in it, though. It's always been there.
This is true. This is true. But you know, our shit was subtle. You know, just like the racism used to be. You know what I mean? Before Trump, like our shit was subtle.
It was subtle. So 2 Live Crew was subtle to you?
Oh no, man! I don't consider them hip hop though. You know, they was doing what they had to do to get
whoa.
No.
Bass music ain't hip hop to you?
No. I don't consider 2 Live Crew, Chick Daddy. I don't. Now, Outkast, yes. Yeah.
Why
Outkast,
is that? No. Why is that?
Because they didn't have hip hop beats, man. They wasn't true MCs to me. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to, hurt nobody's feelings or offend anyone, but they wasn't true MCs, and they didn't, it wasn't hip hop. Like I'm a hip hop, bro. I need that.
You need drums and 808s.
I need and skills. I need to be. We need to be able to turn the music off and just hear you. Acapella, freestyle, go off the top of the dome. What you got?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like bars and you want to hear them acapella, go to Heritage Hip Hop after this interview and go look at our playlist, Truth Behind Bars. We have MCs spit acapella bars so you can hear the wordplay and not get fooled by how they rhyme on a beat and let the beat rhyme for them for the words that they don't use. Check us out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue the interview. I think we're doing real good today. Let's do about like 4 or 5 more questions. All right.
Cool.
Let's do 4 questions. Question number 4. Remixes were a big part of hip hop. where we changed the beat or we added people to the song. What world famous hip hop remix do you wish you were on that you could have made your name in?
Okay. Wow, I got a couple of them, man. The first one, when I was younger, I wish I'd have been a part of the symphony, right? When I was younger. And then a couple years after that, I wish I could have been a part of self-destruction.
Okay.
Okay. But and more recently though, a few years after that, the best, the all-time one was probably Puffy's, man. We ain't going nowhere.
Bad Boy for Life?
Yeah, just because that
Okay.
track, bro, that track.
KRS-One versus Big Daddy Kane is the best verses I've seen so far. And I don't really like the verses, but that was a very good one.
Yeah, I agree.
What makes a versus to you? And who would you like to see versus in your dream scenario?
Ooh. You know what? I would like to see a couple of groups go at it instead of the individuals, right? So I would like to see this one going to get you, bro. Mobb Deep and Onyx. I think that would be
a good one.
That would be a good one.
That's a good one. Because the rumor is MOP and Onyx.
Okay, and that would be another one. Yeah.
That would be
and I know my man, R.I.P. the Prodigy. You know what I mean? I know
Facts.
He's not here no more, but I was, that's what I would, you know what I mean? Like, definitely, I think that would have been really, really, that would be my top for two groups.
Okay. Sidebar question: how did you like being on Heritage Hip Hop, and would you recommend us to anybody else?
Bro, this has been my best experience so far throughout this radio tour that I'm doing. Right, and you've been the most in depth. Right, the first, my first one, man, was really good as well. So I shout out to him. But bro, I really like what you're doing here, and I appreciate you keeping hip hop alive. And yes, I would recommend this show to anybody who knows hip hop or wants to know anything about hip hop. Definitely.
And there you have it. So we've come to the end of this interview. I'd like to say once again, thank you to our guest, D.Brock Dalyrical. He has a song out called Call Me Old out right now. Stream it, but purchase it if you like it or love it and put it somewhere. I might put it on my playlist, Heritage Hip Hop Playlist number 9, coming soon. How do you get the playlist? You become members of heritagehiphop.com. Membership is free. So join the website and get membership benefits like the music, the blogs, the mystery gift only for members on our member page. And more importantly, if you like merch like these hoodies right here, click on and get you a hoodie, man. We represent, we represent for the culture.
I'm gonna get me one for sure, bro. About to order one.
Appreciate that.
Definitely.
But more importantly, everybody, Heritage Hip Hop is, we've been called the 30 for 30 of independent artists, independent music. So if any artist would like to come on Heritage Hip Hop for sponsorship, an interview, or something exclusive, hit us up on heritagehiphop.com. Now, to finish this interview, I want to say, sir, it was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for allowing me to tell you, help you tell your story. That is a blessing. Thank you very much. Bro,
thank you for having me, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man. And I had a ball, man. I enjoyed talking to you.
All right. And Heritage Hip Hop has an open door policy. You don't have to be on Billboard's Top 100 to be on. When you drop your album, if you want to come back on, holla at me. Let's make it happen. All right.
For sure.
And we've come to the most important question of the first interview. And this is the most important question I ask. 500 years from now in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, when somebody asks who's D.Brock Dalyrical, and they push that red button on the wall and your hologram pops out and they play your music, 500 years from now, when you're introduced to the world and they look back on your story, what is the legacy you left behind that made the world better because you did hip hop?
Taught the younger crowd, man, the younger generation, what real hip hop truly means, and they followed suit, right? So if I can leave a legacy, I would like to leave that legacy, true hip hop. And I would like people to follow that, the younger generation to follow that and stay true to what hip hop is.
Ladies and gentlemen, always recognize that teaching and telling the truth are two different things. Because if you tell the truth, you can lead somebody to look deeper. But if you teach the truth, not only do you embed truth in a person, but you allow the road to righteousness and truth to be seen, experienced, and then led. Remember, life is a classroom without walls, and experience is the best teacher. And when you experience truth, not only do you make your life better, but you set the seeds and you set the road down for others to come behind you to take truth to its next level and to give the world the experience to make it better. With that being said, this is Career of Heritage Hip Hop with my man D.Brock Dalyrical. Pittsburgh, stand up. And we in here. And with that being said, we say peace and we out.
All right, thanks again, bro. Peace, man. Peace to the audience, man. I didn't get to shout some people out, but I'll do that next time.
Go ahead.
All right, man. I got quite a few, man. I got to shout out my producer, man, Super C, my engineer, Lamont Giles, Sonny Brasco, my man, my mastering guy, Big Germ from ID Labs. He works with Wiz Khalifa. My video production team, Marty Schiff and Aaron Dudas. My man Rico, that was his barbershop. So Rico, shout out to Rico, Gentleman's Cuts. And then my man Broadway, Poncho Broadway, that was his bar that we shot in, man. So shouts out to him. You know what I mean? So, man, it's just so many, man. I'll be here all night, man. So, yeah, I just keep catching people as I go, man. Just too many people.
And we out.
My man, thanks so much, man. I'll talk to you soon.